Okay, so now let's get into the three main concepts which explain why these funnels work. And we'll also explain to you and make you understand what makes a profitable funnel, what are the factors behind it, why we design the funnels the way we design them. And it's not random, it's actually following a specific logic. And here are the reasons. Let me just quickly share my screen. There are three main concepts that you need to understand when it comes to the profitability of each funnel. The first concept is CVJ, customer value journey. The second concept is average order value. And the third concept is lifetime value. Now, I'll just explain step by step all three of them. First, customer value journeys. The point of this concept is to make you understand that when you're selling things online or in person or in the quote unquote the real world offline, when you're selling things, you can never sell your core offer, your main offer, an expensive offer to a complete stranger. It just doesn't happen. Like you will need some type of a journey. People need to go from never having met you, never having heard of your company, your product, none of that, complete strangers into your customers and hopefully your fans, where they recommend you to your friends and refer business to you. So how does this transformation happen from a stranger to a customer to a raving fan? There are certain steps that need to be taken, and that those steps, that transformation, that path is called the customer value journey. There are many variations of it. There are many different ways of looking at it. I'll just explain you a simple version. And I'll again refer back to our funnel, which I already used in the previous module, just to explain. So basically, when you have a complete stranger who's never heard of you and you want to sell them, let's just say you want to sell them a $500 offer. You cannot just send that stranger to a sales page with a $500 offer because they don't know you, they don't trust you. They need to first get familiar with you before they will be ready to buy, right? That's just how it works. A classical analogy, which is used in the marketing world for this concept, is imagine in the dating world, nobody goes from seeing an attractive person on the street to walking up to them and saying, hey, do you want to get married and have kids and live happily forever after? That just doesn't happen, right? You're building a relationship. Customer has a relationship with your products, has a relationship with your business. And that's why this is so important. So basically, a customer value journey builds that relationship. And you need to build a relationship through a series of steps. So in the dating world analogy, you first ask the person out maybe for a coffee. And then the coffee date goes well, you maybe ask them for a dinner. If that goes well, maybe you introduce them to your friends. Maybe you plan a weekend getaway. The relationship develops, right? You get closer and you do more and more things together. It's the same here, right? So that's why the lead magnet funnel works so well. First, you just give them a little bit of value in exchange for an email address. You make it very easy for people to take you up on that offer. Once they get that and they get value out of it, then you can offer them the next step. Now, if your lead magnet sucks and they don't like it, they're not going to buy the next offer, but hopefully it's good. They get value out of it. And now they're ready to commit more. Now they're ready to commit a little bit of money, right? They're still not ready to commit a lot of money. So they're willing to commit a little bit of money. That's why here you have a low ticket offer, a tripwire offer. Now, low ticket, that's relative. If you're selling very expensive things, then a low ticket can be a few $1,000s, right? It's proportional to whatever the value or whatever the price of your core product is. So you start with a freebie, you move on to a low ticket offer, then you offer the core thing here, and then you offer the profit maximizer, the next thing to increase average order value. And that takes me to the second concept, which is the average order value. Now, the average order value just simply means how much money will somebody spend on average when going through this funnel. So think of it like this. Let's say you're selling bananas. Let's say you have a banana stand and you're selling bananas for $1 each. Okay. Let's say 10 people buy a banana with you. So you made $10, right? Okay. Let's say your wife is also selling bananas for $1. She also has a stand next to you, but she's also selling apples. She also has apples on the side, which also cost $1. And let's say the half of the people who buy a banana also take an apple, right? So while you've made 10 sales and made $10, she's made 10 sales and made $10 on the bananas, but 5 of those people also took the apples. That's another $5. So she's made $15 out of 10 people, and you've made $10 with 10 customers, right? So her average order value is $1.50, but yours is $1, right? Let's say you're driving Facebook ads to your banana stand, and you need to pay $1 to acquire that. If you have to pay $1 and then you sell a banana and you make $1, you're not making any profits. And that's what happens to a lot of people. And then they think there's something wrong with my banana. They're not good. People don't buy it, or they're buying it, but I'm not making any profits. Things are not working. I don't understand what's going on, right? Versus the other person who's selling the bananas, but they're also selling the apple, right? It still costs them just $1 to acquire that customer, but now they're making all the profit on the apples, right? So like you spend $10 to make $10, they've spent $10, but they made $15. So that's the average order value. Like the higher the average order value, the more profits you will make. And more importantly, if your average order value is too low, your funnel will break. That is why it's so important to have these upsells here, right? Because as I've just explained, according to the laws of the customer value journey, you cannot just go and sell a high ticket offer right away, right? So you need to offer something small. In this funnel, you're offering something free first, then you offer them a small purchase. You're still not making any money because the traffic is expensive, right? You're not making money on your tripwire, right? That's just there to progress the relationship in the customer value journey, to progress your relationship with the customer further to where now they used to be a stranger, then they became a subscriber, now they're already a buyer. Even though they just bought a small thing, now they're a buyer, the relationship changes. Okay, now here's where a lot of people will stop. So they won't have the upsells, they won't have the order bumps on the checkout. In my example, they won't have the apples, right? And you could also have pears and you can have plums and you can have all sorts of things on top, as long as that is closely related and it makes sense for the person to be interested and to buy also those things. A certain percentage of people will buy it right there on the spot, right? And that is why the average order value and the customer value journey are so important and they play together, right? Now, the last number, the last concept is the lifetime value, LTV. That just means it's a very similar concept to the average order value, but it's stretched over time, right? So imagine, like I said in the example, if somebody's selling bananas, but they're also selling apples on the side, half of the people will also take the apple. Okay, you're making $1.5 on an average order. That's your average order value. The difference between the average order value and the lifetime value of the customer is that the lifetime value has a longer range. So that means that you get repeat business from that same customer, but you do not have to pay to acquire that customer anymore. So let's say in that example, every time the person comes back who already bought the banana or the banana plus an apple, every time they come back and they buy other things, they buy plums, they buy cherries, they buy all sorts of stuff from you, right? You're making now profits, pure profit, because you do not have to pay for traffic anymore. Why not in the digital marketing world? Because you are doing most of this upselling and raising up your customer lifetime value via email, which does not cost you anything, right? You don't have to pay to social media platforms to run ads anymore. You got them on your email list. They're already your buyer. You can make them offers for free. You do not have to pay for that initial traffic. That's why it's all pure profit. So the average order value and the lifetime value go hand in hand. Basically, the average order value happens on the spot. That's the number that tells you how much they spend on average in that transaction, all in one sitting, let's so to speak. And the lifetime value is how much more can you expect from this person to spend with your business over the course of, let's say, 1 year, or it can be 6 months, or it can be 3 years, right? It depends. Normally, businesses will track this in different periods. So that depends on the specific business, but the concept is the same. So now you understand these three concepts. You understand the customer value journey, you understand the average order value, and you understand the lifetime value. Let's go back to the funnel, right? And now you can see how the funnel is designed with these three concepts in mind. It's designed with the customer value journey in mind, because we do not send the people to our cool offer, the offer that's going to make us all the profit. We now understand we cannot do that. Most people are not ready to buy if they don't know us, right? They're not going to spend a lot of money with us. If they're not going to spend a lot of money with us, we're not making any profit. So what do? We design a customer journey. We think ahead and we say, okay, how can we make this person trust us? How can we provide the little bits and pieces of value, increase their trust to where they're ready to make a purchase? They get value out of that purchase. Now they're ready to make another purchase and another purchase and so on. And in the end, everybody's happy. They get a lot of value. You make a lot of money. And that's the purpose of the customer value journey. The average order value is important because it tells you how much you're making on each purchase, on each new customer that comes into your system, right? And why you want to track this is because the goal is always to increase that average order value. You always want to be thinking, okay, what kind of upsells can I offer? What kind of order bumps can I offer? What else can I offer to my customers to provide more value to them and exchange, increase my profits, right? What else can you sell? What else can you offer to your customers, which they're likely to take, and it will increase your average order value and therefore your profit. And again, lifetime value of the customer, same idea. Now you're just getting the same existing customers back to your shop, to your store. So these are the three concepts that you need to understand. And that's why the funnels are designed the way they are designed. So now the next module will walk you through a few different specific funnels. This is the bread and butter of pretty much every online business, but there are a few different variations on funnels. Even if one funnel works for you, it's good to have a few other ones to test to see if they improve. Also, people respond differently. Your customers who respond differently to different offers. Some people will take you up on a freebie. Some people don't need a freebie. They can buy a small ticket offer right away. Some people prefer a webinar, or maybe they join a challenge and so on. So that's why it's good to have different funnels in your arsenal so you can test and have a little bit of variety get more customers, scale up, and make more money.